Hi, Internet viewers. Frank Rauscher again. We're still charging away on the sandpiper, and one of the things I want to establish, I know we went through a lot where we did both sides of the sandpiper, and what I really want to stress to you is that you have that center line and everything is symmetrical about that center line. And if you look at my pattern and the way it's set up and everything else, you want to make sure, just like with the eyes, that we were in line with each other from one side to the other. And you can pretty much, if you're looking from the top down, you could see if they're in line and they're perpendicular to the center line of that head that we set up. Also, check your cheeks to see that they didn't move and get lowered or they're a little fuller. We're going to come back in here and reduce the beak later because the beak's just a little bit wider. That's okay. I want to move on so we could start building feathers on the bird and get that going. But one thing I would like you to do, and that's to stress that everything on one side here is the same on the other, and you're looking straight in on it, and it looks the same on both sides. It's symmetrical about that center line. So if I can stress anything more, even after I got done with mine, I went back and massaged the eye so that they were lined up right. I took my measurements from the beak in and so on, all that stuff, and made sure the other side's that way. And the one thing, when you're looking down from the top, you're measuring like out away from here on a straight line to the, or parallel line to the center line of this head. And the measurement's got to go from the beak in on both sides the same. So if I could stress that, I really want to say that make sure it looks the same on both sides, and it's the distance from the tip of the beak in. That's, I use that beak line as a reference line, and that everything's built off of that. And I can't stress enough to get in there and get everything the way it should be. Sometimes you got to massage it a little bit, and even though I'm showing you, you could walk, it could walk a little bit on you when you're undercutting and stuff like that. So you can go back and finalize it and make things right, even though I'm telling you how to do it. Sometimes it just moves on you. So I'm going to stress that and try to say, hey, go back, make sure both sides look the same and that you don't have something lopsided. And as I also stressed, this side of the head was a little higher because the way the head's turned. So you want to make sure that when you're looking in that you have a sort of a level head and not something that's slanting upward on one side and down on the other. Keep it consistent. And your eye will tell you that too, as you're looking. And as you get a feel for this, you'll realize that everything's balanced around that center line. So I can't stress that enough to you. The other thing, and I think I answered it in the last video, but I'll do it again. I come in and I sanded everything in the body here and the head. I used this mandrel. I have packets that you get of 10 of these, and they screw onto this mandrel, and you run them at half speed, not full speed. So you're doing about half of whatever your machine's doing, and they'll stay together. If you go full tilt on them, like 45,000 or 35,000, they're going to start blowing apart. Okay, so you don't want that. And I also have what they call split mandrels that have a split in them, and you can wrap the tape around them, the sandpaper around it, and then tape it down. And you got to run them really slow because they stick out so far that they have a fulcrum on it where they whip over if you go too fast. So I just want to let you know, there's different type of sanders, and This is great because you can get in, you can get into the eye channel, you can do the beak, you can get around the cheeks and everything else. And I have bigger sanders that do the body where it covers more, okay? And and I use a 120 grit or like a medium grit, in some cases. If you ever need any of that, I do have them. I have the Swiss-made sandpaper, which is a cloth-bound one, and it comes like in 36 inches. It's not that expensive at all. And I have other grits. If you like a finer grit, I go all the way down to 400, and I have it in 80s too, but 80s really coarse. So just want to let you know that. But most of the time, 120 is what I use. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to start you. We're not going to get a lot of feathers in. We still have to structure this a little more, just like what we did where we cut in the shoulder on this side and this side. There are other feathers that need to be lifted, or an impression of the feathers laying on here, and I'm going to set you up on that. And then on the next video, we'll really load it up, and then I'll show you how we step each one down and get it just right. But we still have to do some structural work, just like we do on the shoulder in here, to get it the way the body should look as the feathers lay, okay? So we are going to go on to the feathers. I'll come back to the head later just to refine it and to get the beak just so. And in some cases, your beak is going to be a little thinner on the bottom than it is on the top. There's more material. So we'll adjust that. So I just want to let you know, we're not there yet, but it does take pretty good shape, as you can see. And each stage brings us closer, okay? Excuse me. So let me bring the camera down. I'm going to give you measurements. We'll start locating some of the feathering, and you can get started on that, and I'll show you how we build off, where we come off the breast feathers onto the wing and so on. So bear with me, and we'll continue on. Okay, here we go. I'm going to ask you to make sure that the center line of your body is where it should be, okay, right down the middle like we established before. Remember, we had put it so it rolls down to the bottom and it comes to the top. I really need this top one because we're going to try to take measurements all the way through here and get this all the way down to the wing here and not the tail. And I'll show you how we start marking this up, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you measurements from the tip of the tail here all the way up, okay? And we're going to put dots on each location that I want you to get. So I'm going to measure up, and I'm going to measure from the tip of the tail up 2.5 inches. And I'm going to put a dot right there, okay? Then I'm going to come up 3/8 of an inch and put another dot right there, okay? And then from that dot, I'm going to ask you to come up, let's see, 1 3/8 inches and put another dot right there. So you have 2.5 from the tail up to here, then you got 3/8, and then you got 1 3/8. Okay, all one accumulating after another. Okay, now at this point, let me move this sheet because this wants to walk and this mat tends to help. I'm going to ask you at each dot, I'm going to ask you to get your inch line hash lined up so that you're perpendicular to the center line here, okay? And I'm going to draw a line across. Then I'm coming up to the next dot and doing the same thing. Okay, and then I'm going to come up to the one towards the head here, and these all should be perpendicular, and this is going to get down a little longer, so make sure that that is rolling down. Now here's what I want to do. Tell you what I'm going to do. We are going to, let's see, on the first one, the first dot, I'm going to measure out straight. Let's see if I get this number right. We're going to come out a 1/2 inch from the dot over here as we're looking straight down, and on that line we put another dot. Then on this side we do the same thing. So we're a 1/2 inch out this way and a 1/2 inch out that way on this perpendicular line. Okay, then we're going to move up to the next dot coming up, which is 3/8 more than this one, and I want you to measure out 3/8 to the left and 3/8 to the right and put a dot. Okay, so you're a 1/2 inch down here, you're 3/8 on the next one up. Okay, and then on the last one, and make sure you're perpendicular now, because I could see myself here, even the way I drew this a little bit. You want to make sure you're straight, even down here and straight here. I can see I'm bending that line because I'm going with the roll. It's actually down this way. Okay, and I'll take this out because I think that's a little misleading. You want to keep it perpendicular, so it should be following this edge when you're drawing it. Okay, so we're at that point, we're going to move out. If I got this right, we're going to measure from the dot out straight, looking straight down, 3/4 of an inch there and 3/4 of an inch over here. Okay, so we got from this last one, which is up towards the head, 3/4 this way and 3/4 that way. Now, here's what I need you to do. I want to draw an arc, and I would say let's do it this way. I have something drawn on here already, but here's our dot for the one closest to the head, and here's our 3/8 out back here. Okay, I'm going to ask you from this dot to this dot to draw a real light line, straight line between the two. Okay, just like this. Okay, keep it light because it's not the important line we're trying to keep. Then I want you to go in the middle of this line, okay, between here and here, find the middle, and come up 1/8 of an inch and put a dot there. Okay, now I want you to go back and erase that light line out of there so it doesn't confuse you. So now you got a dot from here and a dot here, and you got a dot in the middle. And I'm going to ask you to draw. I'm going to make this heavy so you can see it now. I want to make a flat arc. I'm going to come up. I'm going to go from here through that dot and have the same arc come back to the here. Okay? Now, I'm going to, I don't know if I gave you that other one. Wait a minute. I think I missed one other point. Okay. I see what I did. Now, we got this arc right through here, okay? I'm going to try to continue to get this side done, and then we'll do the other side so I don't confuse you. Now, we established the beginning and the end of this wing line here. So I'm going to ask you again, from this point, this dot, and this end down here, to draw a light line, straight line, right on down to here. It's a light reference line, okay? Now, where that line comes down, I'm going to ask you to measure from this dot along that line 3/8 of an inch and put a dot right there. Okay. So we went from this point right up here down to here, a real light reference line. Okay. We don't want to keep it, but we're going to use it. So from here to here, this measures 3/8. Okay. Now, let me also see if and we have a dot back here, which was our first one from the tail up. It came out a 1/2 inch. I want to draw a real light line between this one and that dot, these two dots here right now, okay? Now, I'm going to ask you to find the midpoint between the two. You can lay a ruler and find that out. I'm going to eyeball it myself. I'm going to put a dot there, and then I'm going to go out down towards the wing side here, 1/8 of an inch, and put a dot right there. Okay, so I move from here, perpendicular down, 1/8 of an inch, just like I did on the top. And I tried to erase this reference line. Now, so we got a dot here, and a dot down here. And this real light line I put in, I'm going to just erase that out. It's only going to confuse you. And so here we go. I'm going to draw them. So remember the arc we just drew here? I'm going to do one right here. I'm going to come through here, hit that dot, and then keep on flattening the arc down to here. Okay? So this area here is part of where a feather grouping sort of has a rise and fall in here. And I'm going to show you how to bring that out too as we go. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to establish this area before we start drawing a lot of other feathers and everything else. Now, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, okay? We have a dot. Let's do the top one here. We have a dot here. We have a dot here. And I'm going to draw a real light line right on through. I'm going to find the middle of that between here and here. It should be right here. Come up and put my dot 1/8 of an inch up towards the center line. Okay. Now I'm going to come back, erase this out, the reference line, and then I'm going to draw from here a flat arc that goes through that dot and then also joins up with that one. So it should look like you have a mirror image from one side to the other. Okay. Now, we also said that from this point down to here, where the wing stopped, we were going to draw a light line. Okay, so it's a reference line. And it comes down this way. Okay. And I want you to measure from here down on that line 3/8 of an inch. So from here to here, it's 3/8. Now, we're drawing from this dot to this dot, a real light reference line. Okay. So, and this is my way of doing it. I know there's probably easier ways. I don't know if there is or not, but this is how I develop it so that I feel as though you're going to stay in control with measurements, okay? So from here to here, I find the midpoint, and then I come perpendicular. I go down towards the wing 1/8 of an inch and put a dot. So from this point to here, it's 1/8 of an inch going towards the wing. Now, I don't need that reference line anymore, so I take that out. And I have a dot here, and a dot at the end. So I'm going to get a flat arc that keeps moving. It's not a straight line, it's arcing. Okay, just like that. Now you have the same thing on both sides. Okay? So here's what I want to do. Now we're going to start relieving some of this, okay? And I'm going to use, this is what I call a fat flame. It's a ruby flame, and it's similar to the pear. Let me, oh, hang on. Where's the pear? I got a million pears around here. And of course, oh, here it is. This is a ruby pear. If you don't have one of these, you could use this, but this is ideal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this bit right on the line, okay? And I'm going to undercut right along that line, and I'm only going to go down maybe 1/16 of that. So here we go. I'm going to lay this point right on the line, and I'm walking it down. And when I get to the end, I'm shallow, okay? So when I get to that dot, I'm shallow. I'm about 1/16 in here, and then I go shallow again. Okay, so it's like a little bit of an indent. Now, I'm going to do the same thing on the outside here. I'm going to come in here. And I get to this dot, and I go shallow. So right in the middle here, it's about 1/16. Okay? I'll do it on this side too. So go shallow at the end. Make sure the bit stays right on the line. I keep my finger, one of my fingers, on the piece as I do this so I can track it better. It's not like I'm just winging it like this. You can't do it this way. You got to have your finger on that to be able to walk it and don't go real deep. You're only deep in the middle here, and you're shallow at the end, shallow this end. Then I'm going to do the top one the same way. So lay this here, middle of the bit, right on that line, just like that, okay? And you should have about a 1/16 in depth right there. So let me cut that off because it's making a lot of noise. And I'm going to run in that valley exactly what we had right in there. And I'm going to run this in the valley, and that's exactly what we were tracking. We're going to do the same thing on this side. We have this coming like this, and we have this coming like this. Okay? So now, you know, when we track through, we're making a channel, and it has a channel edge. There's an edge here and an edge over here. So what I'm going to do is soften these edges, okay? This will become rolling across here. This will be just not blended away. It's going to be there, but we're going to soften this out. But this will become a roll in here. So let me show you. Let's see if I can move this bit in a little bit more. Just maybe it doesn't make as much noise. That's a little better. Okay, follow me here now. Let me do this. Let me get a pencil so you can see these edges a little bit more. I don't know if they're visible on this camera, but I'm going to highlight them anyway so you can see what I'm doing with them, at least for this side here. And this is not in that valley. This is on the outside of it. So I'm going to soften this edge right here, right now, with this bit. I'm going to come in here. And I'm just going to soften it out. I'm not trying to, and it's a very light touch. And then I blend this out of here like it's just slightly coming around. I hardly took anything out, okay? Then I'll go to the inside one now, like this. And I'm going to soften that down to into the valley there, almost to the pencil line. And soften that, so that's rolling out. You don't want another edge in there, so you want to almost go down to the pencil line and have it rolling up, okay? So that has a nice roll up without having any bumps or anything else. And the same way on the outside here. If you have anything that's a little bumpy, just smooth it out. Now, I'm going to go to the inside of this one. So this whole area right here is going to roll from one side to the other. This is going to sort of pop up a little bit. So here we go. I'm going to come in here. And I'm going right down to the pencil line to make sure I got that rolling down. And I got that. That has a nice roll over to this side. And then on the top one, I'm just going to soften that. Not really taking that much out. Just, it's there, but it doesn't have any edges. It just rolls out, okay? So, and if you have an edge, just, it's a light touch to get rid of it. You're not being aggressive here at all. Let the bit do the walking. And when you move the piece sometime, and the light hits it a certain way, you'll find that you may miss a spot. So, and you can check it with your fingers. Like I see right now, I have little edges, so I try to clean that up. Now I'm going to go on this side, and I'm going to soften the outside edge. Get that to flow back into the wing portion here, like so. I'm not taking a lot out. I'm really letting the bit smoothing it out. I just don't want to leave any edges. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to come on this side and go down to the pencil line. And get that as a nice roll over to the middle here. Then we'll go this way, and I'm going to roll that edge so it comes to the middle of this grouping, so it has a nice roll over right in that one area. And I want to make sure with a real light touch that I have it rounding over without having edges. Besides, if I see an edge later that I didn't blend off, you can go back and do it. I see one on this side as soon as I moved it around, and this will, yeah, I still have edges here. As soon as I moved the piece, I could see it when the light hits a different way. And I did see some back here. Now that looks pretty smooth for the most part, that I'm happy with, okay? I don't know if you guys can see that. I can see a little bit I missed right here. And I'm hardly pressing at all. I'm just massaging this more than anything else, okay? So now we have this rolling from one side to the other, this side, one side to the other, and we have them both the same, okay? Now, we're gonna go back to this line that we started, and we had this coming down this way, okay? Now, what I'm going to create is a group of feathers that are coming off outside here. This is like the breast feathers laying onto the wing feathers. So follow me here. Here's the line of action. And these are probably about let me put a ruler on it just to give you an idea. They're going to be about 3/8 from one side of the C to the other. So here we go. I'm going to start one here, and I'm going to aim it almost like towards the beak, okay? What I mean, the C, when it ends up, is going to look like it's pointing upward here. So I'm going to come, and I'm going to just go past this line and bring this around like this. So there's one C. It's about 3/8, okay? Then on the next one, I'm going to come almost right here and do it again, but I'm piggybacking off of this one, and I'm aiming them up like the ends of this are sort of pointing to the beak, just to give you direction. And then the next one, I'm piggybacking off of that one, and these are all about 3/8 wide, okay, like this. And then I'm going to piggyback off of this one, and it's sort of going to cut through a little bit of where we ended our wing line. And that's going to come around like this, okay? So let's go to the other side. We have from here, we have a light line coming down to the wing, all right? Now, I'm going to come in here about 3/8 down. I'm going to swing this around up to here, like this. This is sort of pointing up towards the beak. Then I'm going to start off here, come down about 3/8, pop it there. Then I'm going to do another one back here about 3/8 right there. And then I'm going to do one more. That's going to come around and go right there. So you got 4 of them in a row, and the direction of your feathers it's almost like between this point and that point. If you had a midpoint, it would be looking like it's pointing to the beak. Okay, so this is going to be our breast feathers coming on to the wing. So what we want to do is we're going to undercut this a little bit. Okay, so follow me on this. I'm just thinking what's the best way to do this. Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to use the same bit. I'm coming behind here. I'm undercutting right around the pencil line. Okay, I'm going down about a 1/16, very similar to this. Then I'm going to undercut behind the feather line, still like there, and I cut that one in. Then I'm going to go to the next one, right behind it, and it comes up. Then I'll get one more, and this may go into where we cut in, but that's okay. We come around like that. Now, what I'm going to do is run my pencil line in there, in here, in here, and in here, like that. Okay? Now, what I want to do is I want to get rid of this edge that we have back here. Let me get a pencil, because that has a point that shows you the edges here. And that's these edges back here, because you make a double edge every time you undercut like that and make a channel. So I'm going to blend all of this away now. So follow me here. I'm going to come in here, and I'm getting rid of all of the channel that's going towards the tail. Okay. And I want that blended nicely, but it doesn't have to go far because you didn't go real deep, okay? So these are going to be raised. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to undercut this one a little bit. I'm going to undercut this just a little bit, and this edge, and this edge. Then I'm going to come around here with the bit like this. I'm going to sweep all the way around this way and this way so that they have a nice rollover. But I'm not taking much out. I'm just trying to get rid of that edge. It's a light touch. Okay, I just softened that. Here's the edge right here. I'm just going to come in. I'm going to touch it lightly. Not aggressive at all. And you're softening that out. Then you're coming in here. It's almost like you're trying to get a rollover without even trying. It comes real fast. So these are popping up, and they look like they're laying on the wing here. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to show some breast feathers that are looking like they're laying on the wing. So this is how I achieve that. So there should be no edges now. Everything should be like smooth. It should be like rolling from here down to here, to here to here, here to here. It's just a slight rollover, okay? And if you do have an edge, which I see right here, I'm just going to go in and soften it a little bit more, okay? And none of this is real deep. It more or less has this popping up back here because I want these feathers to look like they're laying on here. And this is how we achieve that. So we're trying to make these higher and these lower, but we're not taking much out, okay? Not much at all. Now that we did that so perfectly, let's go to this side. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to come in here behind the line. I got one out. And I'm only going down maybe a 16th. Getting the point in there. And I'll do the next one. And I'll do the last one. Okay. So I'll get pencil in there again. There's your C right there. Here's your other C right here. This one a little more there. C right there. Okay. Now, like I said, everything going towards the back of the wing here, this channel edge gets blended away back into the wing here, and we're not taking a lot out, okay? So I'm gonna come in here. I don't wanna mess with these. I just wanna come in and get around them. Blend this back, blend this back. And you don't wanna make more divots in there or anything like that. You wanna keep it kind of like it's flowing right off, okay? And this will get us established to where the breast feathers stop and start. And these, what we're trying to portray here is the breast feathers are laying on top of the wing feathers here, okay? And that's what we're doing there. Now, what I need to do is soften these. So I'm just going to come around real lightly, trying to get that inner edge out of there. I don't want to knock these down at all. I want to keep these high, but I'm just trying to get that edge out of there so that they have a nice rollover. And this is a real light touch. Okay. So now we have these established in here. We have this feather rolling across, this feather doing the same thing. It's rounding over. This feather does the same thing, and this is your last one right here. And that goes that way, okay? And they're sort of puffed up, and everything else is blended away back here, okay? At least that's what we're trying to get. Now I see a couple of spots that I'm going to clean up here. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to do here, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but we have the feather grouping that I'm trying to deal with here is this grouping right here, okay? And right now, this was, let's see, this is our feathers that are coming down right in here, and this is our feathers that were grooved in from this side and this side. Now what we're going to do is I'm gonna come back. Let's see if I can give you a dimension here so I can keep you honest, or keep me honest, I should say. I'm gonna say we're about a 1/2 inch back. So between here and here, I'm going to come back about a 1/2 inch. So remember that imaginary line we had going up and down? It started right here. So about a 1/2 inch back from there, I'm putting a dot, okay? What I'm going to draw in is this first feather. So I'm going to come in here like this. It's a pointed feather. It's going to come back to this point, like so. I hope you can see this. And it's going to sweep down. Let me just draw this line up here. And this is going to come in like this. This is going to go in like this. Okay, that'll be the first one. Then the next one is about a 1/4 inch back, and we're mimicking exactly what we did there. Like so. Okay, and this is like these are rolling, so these are sort of coming up and around. Then we go another 1/4 inch back. Roll one down. These are all pointed now. And I'm trying to maintain a 1/4 inch through here. Comes back like this. And I'll do one more. 1/4 inch back. Right in through there. A 1/4 inch back here. So we now got 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last one is going to be a 1/4 inch back. And it's going to slide down right through here. And this is going to come and join us up. So we got 5 feathers now that are pointed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Go do it on the other side now. So we're going to come back from here a 1/2 inch. I'm going to take a guess. Let's see how close I am. Yeah, a little less than that. So I'm going to get a point right there in the middle between these two. And then I'm getting a point right there. Let me get this one coming up. So you have that finished. Come back a 1/4 inch from here. Swing that back that way. And then swing this one this way. Okay. Then I'll come back a 1/4 inch. Swing this way. And then this way. Then I'm coming back here a 1/4 inch. Swing that back to there. This is following. We're just mimicking each one that we have. And then a 1/4 inch more, which takes us right here. And this one comes right into there. Okay? So that'll get us to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Maybe I cheated a little bit. Maybe I should have made this one a little bit longer to match up with the other one. You want to try to keep it symmetrical. And this came down a little bit more. Not much. And then that came this way. There we go. I'll dress this out. Okay. All right. So this is our framework for starting to put more feathers in here, and then I'll show you how to build. But I want you to get this one established, because this sets up this grouping here and this grouping here, and then on the next video we'll really start showing you a lot of feathering in here and so on. So I hope you got something out of this one. If you did, I'd ask you to give me a thumbs up. Again, make sure that everything is matching on both sides and it looks like it's balanced, okay? From one side, the cheeks, how thick they should be, what the diameter between here and here. We have all those measurements. You want to maintain those. and make sure your head is rolling down and around, especially back in here too. This cheek comes up here like so, but you need to clear the throat, and there is a crease in here, so you need to sand that out at the same time. This is rolling around here and here. So I'm just trying to give you high points that you should be going for, that you need to maintain, okay? So again, if you got something out of all this, please give me a thumbs up. And if you would subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate that. If you have friends that may be interested and want to do power carving and maybe the sandpiper. If not, I've done cardinals and wrens and otters and finches and so on. And I'll be doing other ones along the way here. So if you could recommend me to your friends, that helps me grow my channel. And I'm going to guide you all the way through on all of this. And if anybody needs anything, I do sell the bits, I do sell the blanks, the kits, and so on. And I can send them out to you. I have a catalog. My email address is Rauscher, R-A-U-S-C-H-E-R, Frank, F-R-A-N-K, 7@gmail.com. And if you ever need anything, give me a holler, or you need some help, I'll be glad to do it. And you can also comment in the comment section of this video, or you could write to me, either through email, and if you get my catalog, you can talk to me directly, okay? I have my phone number on there. So, see you on the next video. I hope you enjoyed everything, and we will proceed on. Thanks.